Great, thank you. I'd like to start by thanking the Onset Protective League for sponsoring this candidates event and giving me the opportunity to speak with all of you this evening. My name is Melody Conway. I'm running for the office of Town Clerk for the town of Wareham and the village of Onset. I'd like to take a few minutes to tell you who I am, why I'm running for Town Clerk, and what I bring to the table. I was born here in Wareham and grew up in East Wareham. My mother served on the school committee many years ago and worked diligently to see the new high school built and opened approximately in 1989. I was raised with a strong sense of community and a solid understanding that in order to truly be part of my community, I had to participate and to give back. I chose to live here and raise my family here. I have 2 sons I'm very proud of. My oldest is a graduate of Upper Cape Tech, and my youngest is a sophomore at Wareham High School. Over the last 15 years, I have volunteered countless hours as a parent in the classroom, as a coach in Wareham Youth Soccer, as a coach and tournament director for Wareham Little League, and as a monitor, board member, and for several years president of the Wareham Tigers Pop Warner organization. I'm grateful to have had these opportunities to spend time with the children in these programs, and I'm delighted to have watched them grow, succeed, and feel some small part of their development. Over the years, I also found time to volunteer on several town committees. I worked with a fantastic group of dedicated individuals on the Cable Advisory Committee for several years to develop a contract that has enabled the town of Wareham to open its own WCTV studio and begin to build strong local access programming. I also served on the Police Station Feasibility Study Committee with another group of committed people to review the status of our current facility and make recommendations for future needs. Both experiences were enlightening and gave me an opportunity to work closely with members of the community I may not have otherwise met, and to learn to debate ideas and come to consensus in an open and forthright manner. I also feel fortunate to have had an opportunity to be a founding director for Women-Aid of Wareham. Women-Aid is a local charitable organization dedicated to filling the gaps where traditional charities leave off. The year I spent with that diverse group of strong, hardworking women was an amazing experience. I helped to organize fundraising events to provide local families with fuel assistance, housing, and items their children needed. My career path has always been customer service oriented. When my children were very young, I was self-employed in direct marketing with Tupperware. For 10 years, while raising my children and volunteering in their activities, I worked my way to a senior executive manager position, overseeing a team of 20 to 40 consultants and working with them to develop their careers. I also created and implemented training programs and sales techniques, both locally and on a national training level. As my family's needs changed, I switched gears, earned my Massachusetts real estate license, and began to work successfully in that field. I focused my attention on the Wareham Onset market. I worked diligently to sell not only the tangible product of homes and land, but the communities of Wareham and Onset as a whole, and the dreams people could make come true here. Wareham and Onset are strong and vital. The sense of community here is unmatched, and I like to think my pride in this community brought more value to each transaction. Once again, life changes brought me a new opportunity. 2.5 years ago, I began working for Comcast in a customer service related position. My time there has been well spent, gaining an understanding of working within a corporate structure, as well as expanding my knowledge in technology and communications. When I announced my candidacy, many friends asked why I wanted to be town clerk. The answer is simply that it has long been a plan of mine to run for this position. I wanted to wait until my sons were grown so I could devote my full attention to the challenge. I have been involved in this community on many levels for over 20 years. I have attended town meeting as regularly as possible, participated in the discussions when I felt I had something to offer, have supported candidates I believed in, and always been willing to speak up for the issues I take to heart. My opinions haven't always been popular, but I've never been afraid to stand up for what I feel is right and put my name to it, and have always been willing to explore and understand an opposing viewpoint. I was told recently and rather publicly that if I wasn't part of the solution, I was part of the problem. So I'm here to be part of the solution. As your new town clerk, I will bring a fresh perspective to the clerk's office. My years of business experience, as well as my focus on customer service, will bring new insight as to how the business side of the clerk's office can operate more efficiently and effectively. More effective customer service through the use of technology and a more user-friendly focus represents the value that I add to the office of town clerk. 2 minutes. For example, the manner in how we currently handle documents, how meeting minutes and agendas are posted, and access to forms is sorely outdated. Over 15 years ago, the voter list was copied to a 3.5-inch floppy drive and given to distribution in its original plain data format from the state. Today, that same outdated technology is being handed to folks who request this vital information. None of the computers on the market today have this outdated technology. Technology has come forward leaps and bounds in the last 15 years, and yet we are still utilizing outdated data storage. This is one small visible example of a lack of technological advancement in the Office of Town Clerk over the last 15 years. A brief survey of surrounding communities shows that they actually convert the data into a spreadsheet format and will either email it or burn it to a CD. Town street listing is still provided in a bound paper format, and it could be burned to a CD and provided in a more cost-efficient and usable format. Today's consumer wants control of their time. They want information to be readily available at the click of a button, and many would prefer to do business online as much as possible. I understand today's customer and today's technology. I will work diligently to bring the town clerk's office up to the expectations of 2010. These advancements will free up the dedicated staff to provide more comprehensive customer service at the counter and make for a more user-friendly office overall. As your town clerk, I bring an understanding of current technology, a willingness to explore and implement innovations, and to provide a higher level of service, and a commitment to be honest, fair, and impartial in all aspects of the job. I thank you for your time and ask you for your vote on April 6th. Thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you to the members of the Onset Protective League for once again sponsoring a successful event. It is not easy sitting here and espousing one's laurels. A lot of thought goes into what we plan on saying here tonight. Certainly we want to make sense. We want to sell ourselves. In my position as town clerk, and I am your town clerk, I have worked diligently to make that office as efficient as possible. I have to say that my colleague has some wonderful ideas. However, when I look back, those ideas will somehow have a ring of money attached to it. So for me, when I go and I create a budget and I'm told that my budget is going to be cut another 6%, any thought of bringing the office up to some type of technological advancement pretty well goes out the window. And it becomes a basic service provision that we have to adhere to. We just have no choice. It's unfortunate. We have hoped that the state would come forward with a lot of this technology. And we get the promises and it never happens. So it is wonderful ideas, and it would be wonderful if they did come to pass, to be honest with you. But having said that, I would like to focus on the position of town clerk and the many accomplishments that I've tried to bring to the position. My decision rested with sticking to what the residents of the town have become accustomed to these many years, and that would be the reliable, consistent, and positive service many experience when dealing with the town clerk's office. As town clerk, I have strived to set an example for the ladies that I have had the pleasure to work with all these years. I have and I continue to strive to be a positive role model and leader for all the people of Wareham, despite the brutal attacks that I have thrown upon me. I've tried to be fair and impartial and treat all people equally. It would be nice to say that everyone has been satisfied with the services provided, but that would not be a true statement. As human beings, we know there is always room for improvement, as there could be one small step that should or could have been instituted and was not. Many times, these